The NRA in 2019. There's a lot of important battles coming up as far as the Second Amendment goes, and there's a lot of people attacking the NRA. Usually all we have to worry about is people on the left attacking the NRA because they want to take our gun rights away and the NRA is effective, which is why anytime something happens, the blood is on the hands of the NRA. Obviously, it's effective if it's their target every single time something happens. So it's in their best interest, and by they I mean the left and the people who want to infringe on our gun rights, it's in their best interest to eliminate the NRA because they have lobbying power, which means they can send people to Capitol Hill to talk to your representatives and effectively fight for us and actively lobby for us in multiple arenas. So it stands to reason that if they want to be effective in gun legislation and potentially confiscation, if they get their way, that they'll need to get rid of the NRA. So a lot of people are understandably upset about the bump stock ban. I'm not too happy about it. However, it prevented larger legislation from getting passed. So while I'm not happy about it, and it is a compromise, which I didn't want, I'm happy that we still have binary triggers in general, and we can still modify our firearms, which is something that that bill was going after. So while it was a loss, it was a calculated loss. This sounds like I'm making excuses. It's not. It's highlighting exactly what took place. I'm still not happy about it, and I'm sure, despite me saying that, and despite still not being happy about it, there's going to be a slew of people saying, "Oh, you're just a bitter." I don't care. It was a calculated loss. It could have been much worse because, like somebody said before, well, there's an article below. Please look at this article. It'll explain in greater detail what I'm getting at here, but there's two things that President Trump doesn't like as per this article: bump stocks and elephant hunting. So long as we can stay out of those lines, we'll be okay. And no, he's not going to trade gun control for border security. I have never heard a group of center, slightly right of center, conservative, libertarian people sound more like leftist crybabies and just weak soy boys in my life, peddling this nonsense. This, oh, he's going to trade the wall for guns. He will lose in 2020. He's got to get reelected. He's not going to trade gun rights for the wall. Stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Y'all are soft if you think that's going to happen. And moving forward from that, if you think that not having the NRA around is going to be beneficial, like we can just throw everything on the GOA, two things. And let me start by saying this before I get into those two things. The GOA is a great organization, and this is America. You can belong to the GOA and the NRA. They're not mutually exclusive. I send the GOA money too. So the two things I was going to talk about. The GOA is an excellent information resource. They're really good about making media appearances, putting out newsletters, and doing certain things in that regard. The other thing that they're decent at is putting money behind legal fights. They're trying to grow, but they do not have the influence of the NRA, which is my second point. They don't have lobbyists. So the GOA is an outstanding organization. They have my 100% support, and I do not want to see the GOA go away, and I don't want to see the NRA get rid of the GOA, and I don't want to see the GOA get rid of the NRA. Which leads me to my next point. I'm really disappointed with big YouTube channels. Tim at Military Arms channel is a known... I don't know how this dude sleeps at night with how much he flip-flops. And instead of saying, hey, since I'm a life member, these are the people I'm going to vote for next election to change the culture of the NRA, he just sits there and trashes it. And he did that whole... all these cute little outbursts he does on YouTube all the time to try to show his displeasure with the NRA. What he should do is write the NRA and use his viewer base instead of trashing and trying to destroy the NRA and get rid of them like an idiot. He should say, hey, I don't like the leadership of the NRA. Let's be the change we want to see. These are the people I endorse for the cabinet. These are the next elections they're holding. This is when you can vote. This is how you can vote. These are the ways to vote in the NRA. Be a life member, or you have to have had a membership for this many years. That's what he should be doing as a responsible voice in the gun community. But instead, he wants to control the conversation, and I don't know what his end game is, because he's fighting against the best interest of the Second Amendment more often than not, and he's a big gun proponent. So I don't understand what his end game is. Another person that really let me down, because I like his channel, is Reed Hendricks, with his recent video, how he said, I called the GOA and the NRA's at SHOT Show. NRA is so large. They have offices everywhere. Their entire organization is not at SHOT Show. I promise. I see those vehicles in Texas all the time driving around. It says NRA on the side. I've seen it so many times. They're going around doing important things. It's not like the entire NRA is at SHOT Show. It's stupid. And Reed, you know, Tim is Tim. I really like Reed. He's a good guy. He's well principled. He fights for the right things. I also think he should say the same things I highlighted about Tim. Instead of this jump on the fuck the NRA bandwagon, why don't we instead highlight the changes that we want to see in the organization? We directly support them. They take our money. They will want to do what we tell them to do, or there will be a financial consequence. You don't just stop sending them money. That doesn't send them a message at all, and it cripples their capability. What you do is you say, hey, there's a lot of important stuff coming up. We don't like what you did with the bump stock ban. We're not willing to give anything else. Here's your opportunity to win us back. This is what you need to do. And after doing so, you say, if we fail in 2019 or 2020 or moving forward, if there's any more significant gun control, then we're going to throw our support behind someone who's going to work for us. That's what you say. And then when elections come up, you evaluate the candidates just like a state or national election. You do your research and you see if they will support the things you want to support. If you don't like the representation in the NRA, vote them out. It's super simple. So to try to bring this thing in for a close, because I really try not to do rant videos anymore, a semi-effective NRA is still more effective than no NRA at all. They hate them for a reason. There's a deep want to try to get rid of the NRA by the left, and there is a deep hatred of the NRA because of how effective they are by the left. If they were not effective, they wouldn't care. They wouldn't put all this effort and energy into getting rid of it. So this time around, when I heard the assault weapons ban was proposed, instead of buying magazines like I usually did every other year, and instead of buying ammunition and gun parts and stuff like that, what I did instead was I sent money to the NRA. They know what's at stake. You can read their newsletter. Their newsletter isn't, oh, everything's fine, guys. It's, hey, Hawaii's trying to do this. Hey, Illinois is trying to do this. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I just got an email. It's not like they're just sitting there. And the NRA, like any other large organization, has people working hard behind the scenes every single day. And nobody can sit here with a straight face and tell me that hiring Colion Noir wasn't effective. Changing their marketing campaigns wasn't effective. Hiring all those diverse commentators wasn't effective. Since I've been active on YouTube, and probably for about the last 10 years, we've seen the most effective resurgence for fighting for the Second Amendment. And leading that charge has been the YouTube gun community and the NRA. And while I like the GOA, I really do send them money as well. And if you absolutely cannot send the NRA money and you would rather send it to somebody else, please consider sending it to the GOA. But my main point here is this. We need to stop fighting the NRA. They're here to help us. They're not perfect. They're a giant for-profit advocacy group. They're going to have their flaws. I don't like all of them either, but I'm not going to sit here and beat them up for it. Just like any large organization, those individuals that are a problem, will hopefully one day get sorted out and we'll be able to keep pushing forward and doing the things we need to do. But in the meantime, we still need the NRA. We absolutely need the NRA. All those Supreme Court decisions are not going to hold all of the corners down that we need. We need to fight these bills in Congress. We can't let things get passed and then hope to challenge it in the Supreme Court at some point. It's not an effective way of doing business. And eventually the money for that is going to dry up. There's not going to be anybody feeling like financing an entire fight on their own to take it all the way to the Supreme Court. That's millions of dollars. And you're going to run into those people that are militant against supporting the NRA, and then you're going to run into those Joe Bobs from the gun shop that were never going to support any pro-Second Amendment group in the first place. But this is their new coolest way to excuse themselves out of having to spend money for the cause, because they weren't going to do it anyway, but they're going to try to sound cool about why they don't have to do it now. There's a lot of those out there, and then there's people leading the charge who are either legitimately trying to be on a moral high ground, or they have their own best interest in mind and don't really care about the group as much as they say they do out there. And they're going to all be in your way, but I promise you, sending money to the NRA and keeping them motivated and going is going to be one of the most important things we do. We have to keep the NRA around. We have to. If the NRA goes away, the Second Amendment goes away. And I know it sounds like a bold statement, and I know everyone's like, no, we got all these other organizations, and we got these other people that'll donate money to... Yeah, it's not going to happen. We got to keep the NRA around. We cannot lose the NRA. If the NRA goes away, so does the Second. Just remember that. So thanks for watching. Take care of each other, stay safe, stand and fight. Send money to the NRA, send money to the GOA, and support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America.